Coming to you live on the Government Access Channel from Mario Bagnoni Chambers in beautiful downtown Erie. It's the Taxpayers Hotline Show with your host, Kaz Kwiatkowski.
Well, it looks like we're going solo again, and we already have a phone caller, so I'm going to put him on the air. Go ahead, caller.
Yes, hi. We're calling about the Red Fox Plaza on East 88th Street.
Yeah.
I'm calling about it because I live across the street, and I see homeless people setting up camp inside. I see guys going in there with young boys. I see people going to the bathroom outside. Going to the bathroom outside is indecent exposure, and that's a sex offense.
Did you call 2 weeks ago?
No.
Because somebody else called me about that, and I did contact code enforcement about it, and they agreed there were some problems, but they didn't see the homeless problem. The same thing was mentioned to me 2 weeks ago, so you say it's still going on, right?
Yes. I witnessed. I live across the street.
Right.
Seen homeless people set up camp at nighttime. I've seen men go in there with young boys.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen people go to the bathroom outside, and that's indecent exposure.
Okay.
I talked to the guy who owns it. It's a black guy named Latouf. He told me that he is the law, and he has a CD in his pocket, and to mind my own business.
Well, I'll take care of it. I'll go back up there after the show again.
Across the street, there's a playground, and it's getting nice out. And I'm afraid that some of these guys might do something to these kids.
Yeah, you mean Burton Park?
Yes.
Yeah, they did admit there were medical paraphernalia behind there.
I've seen syringes back there.
Yeah, they blamed it on one of the businesses near there. But either way, I'll turn it in again. I did it 2 weeks ago after the last show.
And I'm just afraid that someone might do something bad to a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Because maybe Child Protective Services might want to do something to help the children stay out of there.
What time are they doing it? Because I live in the area too, and I ride by there, and I haven't seen it yet. Is there a certain time that you see this?
I see it in the evening time.
Like after what?
I see it like 6 to like 9.
Okay.
I've seen people go to the bathroom outside.
Yeah.
It's an exposure.
Can you see it from the front side or the back side?
It's in the back. I've seen syringes in the front.
Well, yeah, they acknowledge there are syringes there. That was acknowledged.
I see a vodka bottle. I see gin.
Well, there's another councilman as concerned as I am, and I'll talk to her, and we'll see if we can, get something done there. I've turned it in once, but apparently it's not working. So I'll get you an update next week, okay?
I would hate to see something bad happen to a child.
Me too. But I'll jump on him again. I talked to Andy Zimmerman about it, and he said there was those were unfounded. So apparently they are founded.
It's pretty disgusting.
Yep. Well, thanks for calling.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, we looked into that, but apparently it's not being taken care of properly, and that disturbs me. They did acknowledge that there was some medical paraphernalia back there, which is not a good thing. Go ahead, caller.
Yeah, he called you last week.
Yeah, but you know what? They did acknowledge, John, that there were syringes back there.
Oh, I saw guys working there. Hey, you can't control everything that's going around, but these people have to have more respect for the people that are around the...
Well, they said the syringes are coming from I'll just leave it at that,
Yeah, I can imagine where... Hey, I'm calling because the roads up here are horrendous.
You mean up in your area?
Page Street, Hoyt, they're buckling and going up, and looks like they're going to have to get a crew out there with a air hammer to take it out and pack it down. I mean, they're really cracking up and everything else. You hit them, you think you're going to lose your front end suspension. And
you mean the potholes?
they're not just potholes. the whole road is buckling up.
Can you hold, John?
Sure.
Yeah. Ooh, my wife just called me, John, said Notre Dame Cathedral's on fire in Paris.
It is.
Yeah, you better watch the news.
In Paris?
That's what she said.
Well, your mom's on top of everything.
No, my wife, I think it was, they called.
Wife?
Yeah.
Well, your mom's on top of everything, too.
That's true. So what we got, Hoyt and where?
Hoyt and Page. And have you received any inkling on what they're going to be paving this year?
Not yet. Council will probably get a list shortly. I'll check with Public Works.
Yeah, he's the guy said they never saw salt dumped in the bay.
They what?
He's the one that said he never saw salt dumped in the bay.
Well, he probably didn't because he's young, but...
Remember they used to dump the snow into the corners of State Street?
Oh, yeah. I remember when I was a kid, they had the one winter was so bad, that was probably...
56?
No, well, not that one, but back when I was first married, probably be in the 60s. Remember that one?
Oh, yeah, I remember 56, Morris.
There was one either in the late 60s, early 70s.
Yeah.
And I remember I was renting down around Ainsworth Field, Roosevelt, and they had to clear the parking lots, like the front lawns of the school district and everything.
Mm-hmm.
They put people up on there while the city ran down the side streets with graders because there was so much snow. Remember that year?
Oh, yeah, they probably had Mayor Brothers and everybody else.
And they took the snow, and people verified this over years. They used to take it and dump it in the bay.
They dumped it right in the corner down there where Nolan used to have his ferry boats.
Yep.
So.
I mean, back then they didn't think anything of it.
Oh, well, I recall when the city had their salt box on the hills right over the storm drains.
That's true. I mean, I can remember somebody leave them open and they were like hard as a brick.
Yeah, well, the biggest thing about it, the people were stealing the salt.
Yeah, that was that was bad enough, but leaving them open and then when you went up there it was like a brick.
Yeah, you have to get an air hammer to break them loose.
But you're right, I can remember they used to go down to city garage and they had to put a stop to it because people were, they didn't mind you taking a bucket, for the car.
Oh, yeah.
But some people were coming in loading up trucks almost.
Yeah, that's when it gets to be a no-no.
Yeah, that's when, they said, that's when they had to shut it off to everybody.
True.
So you couldn't even go down there and get a courtesy bucket,
Yeah, if you make it bad for the rest.
Well, they would tell you, go get the white, they tell you go in the white pile because the blue pile was where they had the calcium chloride in there.
Yeah, well, that's all I use myself is calcium chloride because it will go way below freezing and melt.
Well, they had a mix in there, but they didn't want you using it because that was expensive.
Oh, yes, it is.
So they told you, for a courtesy bucket, go in the white one, just a regular rock salt. A bucket was okay until people, once again,
abuse it.
Yep. Just like they do the mulch piles, we get all these out-of-towners coming in there taking it.
Yep. That's, what are you going to do, right? So,
Well, I think we need to, actually, I think what we need, John, is you put a kid there, a young kid, give him, minimum wage, and have 'em card people like they do in other towns.
that's true.
You go to Allentown and you try to use their, facilities, and you either have to show a license or, similar ID.
Yeah, people take advantage of everything.
Well,
just
it's
like
bad.
I see these.
It's bad enough people take it, but when businesses take it and make money off it, that's...
Yeah, and just like I see all these people taking advantage of that cleanup deal, that's going to work out good.
What do you mean?
The one piece of extra large during the whole year round for garbage picking up, that you didn't get a chance to vote on.
You like that idea, don't you?
I do, but I really don't have that much to put out.
No, the trouble is, though, we complained because in the past, like when the college kids left,
Yeah, well,
the cleanup was gone.
true.
Although I look around town and I'm starting to wonder if everybody's doing the proper procedure, because once again, we become, we used to be the gym city, now we're the couch city.
That's true. Pretty soon we'll be called the junk city.
I think I'm gonna buy stock in Arthur F. Schultz and a few of the other places.
Why,
Or John B.
Schlitter.
Schlittergan. Arthur or John, I can't remember.
Yeah, so, well, what are we going to do? You know, do you recall when the streetcars were running up and down State Street?
No, that was before my time.
You ever see any of those pictures?
Yep.
I recall when I lived on 2nd Street down there, they had the cable or trolley car garage right down behind the old Erie coach.
Now that I remember. In fact, a lot of it was still there. And I remember they said when they built that Hammett outpatient down there,
Yeah,
you know, where they do all the, like, first day surgeries and all that,
yeah.
they claimed there was a pile of, underneath the, you know, blacktop and everything, there was all kinds of cobblestones and tracks, combinations, like where there was like a, what do you call it, where the streetcars came out of the garages.
Yeah, that was right alongside there where 100 State Street, right in about the middle of the block.
Yeah, so they just buried the tracks, basically.
True. Silver's had a junkyard down there.
Did he?
Yep.
I had an old timer once, took me for a ride, and as we were going down these streets, he goes, "Did you wonder why they feel bumpy a certain way?" And then when you look, you could actually see the rails underneath the blacktop, you know. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's interesting.
Yeah, I used to go down and we used to jump a ride every now and then. I was just a young bay rat. But
That's what my
we
father
got
told me. That's
into
how,
a lot of that stuff.
that's how my old man said he got to Waldemere and stuff.
Yeah, I remember the monkey, what do you want to call it, Monkey Island at Waldemere.
I remember that, and I remember those flying rockets and a few other things.
Yes, so, well, we'll let you go and let somebody else. If
But
nobody
you-
calls,
but-
I'll call back.
But you're not old John till you remember the bandstand at Glenwood Park, right?
Yes. So, have a good one.
The memories, but yeah, we should be getting a street list pretty soon, I would imagine, any time now, so we'll hopefully report that when we get it. We're probably not gonna do the show next week, as I'm gonna be out of town on Easter break with my grandkids, so you'll have to wait about 2 weeks, but we're gonna check on that problem again at Burton and a few other things. So feel free to call. I have no real topics to discuss today, just, you know, you can talk about anything you want. I see where, you know, there's a lot of projects. I was near Hammett the other day, and I was watching the progress on their new building, and it's come along pretty good. Hard to believe how long it takes to build something that's very technical in nature, but it's come along very well, and it'll definitely add to a little bit to the skyline. And of course, then there's the project at UPMC Park. Very big endeavor. Addition of some offices, stadium club, some stores, a little bit more seating in some areas, and new field with a new scoreboard. It's exciting and necessary, I guess, if you want to keep pro sports in the city. And one thing about Erie, we definitely have, sometimes I think, too much to do. For a city our size, we have quite a few options. Sometimes that makes it tough on certain groups or teams to really make money. Go ahead, caller. Go ahead.
You're doing a great job.
Well, I try, but when you're talking to yourself, it gets a little boring.
Yeah, that's why I called. I used to watch Bagnoni back in the day, but I used to call only if there was a problem.
Yeah, the show's taking a different turn now because we have Mr. Saylor that takes care of a lot of the complaints.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, the show has turned more to, you know, whatever people want to talk about. Some problems, some good things.
And Thompson too, but I grew up with his kids. I grew up in the neighborhood by St. Stan's.
With who?
Thompson.
Oh, yeah, he was Working with him was a real treat. I worked with Mario a little bit, and Jimmy was really a treat.
Oh yeah, he was a nice guy. We used to go to his house.
We even went to Poland together, and they thought he was a god over there.
Oh yeah, he would stand up to people. I used to get a kick when he'd say, "I see the strollers down the street," and I get real close to them.
Yep, he did too.
Oh, I know, I've seen him.
But then when he turned Trapper John, I called him. When he went out trapping all the critters and catching the goats running down the street, I was laughing my head off. But that was Jimmy though. But when we were in Poland, you had to understand. They looked at him like he was the Wizard of Oz. He was the powerful Jim Thompson.
Oh.
They thought he was bigger than the mayor. Honest to God, when we were over there, it's like you couldn't believe the respect they had for him.
Well, he was like that in the neighborhood before all this stuff happened. He would go out of his way to do stuff for you.
Yeah, the one thing about Jimmy, he stayed in the neighborhood. He put up with all the problems, and he didn't run away.
Oh no, but with John, they used to have the tracks coming down 11th Street because I grew up on 10th and Ash back in the day.
See, I think that's the one my old friend showed me. We were going down 11th Street. Is that the one that still got the pumps? Or was that a different one?
Don't think so. I just know the tracks are still there. They never tore them out. My mom told me. I wasn't even around.
I think it was a little rough underneath there. That's because, like you said, the tracks were still...
Oh, yeah. Boy, when I had a car, I used to cuss. And with the snow, when I was a kid on 14th and Parade, they used to gather up the snow. They would pile it up.
Wow.
And we used to slide down. Because my grandfather was a shoemaker on 14th and Parade.
There's a lost art.
Oh, yeah. He even had a gas well down there. He had free gas. So whoever owns that building now, they have, I guess, before my grandmother passed away, I guess they fixed that gas well.
What's at 14th and Parade now where he was? Did they tear it down?
Oh, you'll see the greenhouse with the flowers in it.
I remember that.
Some real nice black guy bought it.
Yeah, some of the buildings don't look too bad, that they renovated.
Oh, no, my grandfather, when they tore up Parade Street, he had a big barn in the back. He collected all those bricks and piled them up in the garage. My aunts and uncles were complaining that they had to clean the bricks and put them in the garage.
God, I remember the old Parade Street when I was a kid. That was a whole different world.
Oh, and those cobblestones are nice. They're nice and thick.
Yeah, they are. And, to save them, they're probably historically relevant,
And do you see my aunt? She lives down below, Shirley.
Where she live?
Right down below you. But he passed away.
I probably know her by sight.
Yeah, she's 9. She'll be 90, and she still does all that work.
Tell her to stop me when she sees me.
Oh yeah, she's talkative. But anyways, the reason I called, I wouldn't call, but at what happened this past weekend with these kids, they have a basketball rim, whatever, on blocks year-round, even in the wintertime, even sometimes it blocks the road, and the neighbors will have to move it.
Well, you want to tell me the street off the air? Or?
35th and Wayne. Oh, I don't care. I'm done with them. We have a nice field over here on 35th and Wayne. There's a school down the street a block and a half away that has a basketball court, a tennis court.
Yeah.
And, and they had when I went out to check what was going on, there was a kid, 1 year old, underneath the basketball rim, sitting there while they're playing basketball. If that ball would have hit him in the head or would have,
Yeah, for a little kid, that ball has a lot of speed coming down.
And they have no respect for the cars that come in.
It is, there is I don't know if there's an ordinance specific, but I do remember there are rules that they're not supposed to do that.
Right, I know that.
But, nobody really bothers them, and...
That's why I didn't say anything, but...
But I remember one time, you'll laugh at this one, I was the controller then, and somebody put the basket on the right-of-way during the spring cleanup. And our guys picked it up.
Huh.
Now I checked into it, and it wasn't really in good shape. And so they wanted a new one,
Oh, gee.
Well, I refused payment. I said, if it's on the right of way during spring cleaning, it's not our guy's fault.
Yeah, there's an ordinance, so you can't have that. I mean, that's.
You know, as long as they're respectful and it's not a busy street and the neighbors don't complain, I guess, you know, I guess you leave them alone as long as, you know, all the things are right. But really, I agree with you. It's dangerous, number one.
Especially in this neighborhood with the college kids.
Yeah, and we used to play football on the street, and we're lucky we didn't get killed. Honestly,
Yeah.
you know. I sometimes wonder that, you know, but yeah, these baskets. I mean, you get busy, and somebody's flying through the neighborhood, and it doesn't take long.
And that's what I'm concerned with, or hitting someone's brand new vehicle. You know.
Especially a little kid just sitting there.
Yeah, when I saw that.
Apparently, nobody's paying attention to him.
Right, and the mother's right there. So in this house, it's a rental house, and there used to be college girls, and these girls were in law enforcement, and they would have parties left and right. It just blew my mind.
Yeah, the parties never end. I'm telling you, that's why we had a lot of people on like East 37th and East 38th weren't happy. But
When I first moved in the neighborhood, I didn't know there was college kids renters, because to me, I thought this was Glenwood Hills when I grew up.
yeah,
That had the concrete. This is back in the 60s. And when I moved in, and they had the fireworks, Mercyhurst, because everyone would come to the field.
right.
And when they had the fireworks, there's one house across the street, one door down. All the kids were on top of the roof. And it was the Mercyhurst football team.
Yeah.
Well, the landlord learned that now he rents to families now, because he learned that because they would trash the place. Be 2 dumpsters over there.
Well, I remember one time they were amazed that there were kids sitting on a slanted roof, and you know, if you're a landlord, you're wondering, you know, what happens if they fall.
Oh yeah, that's it.
But yeah, it's all changed up there, and I have college kids top of my hill, but for some reason, I think they're from Barron, believe it or not. You know, they come that far into the city, but they seem to be very well behaved, and I think the landlord who had a previous incident there, I think he kind of saw the light of day and probably put the fear of God in them a little bit.
Oh yeah, it's just like on 38th Street. Beep your horn, we'll guzzle a beer when they had their couches out front.
Yeah, well, that was the mild one. There was some verbiage on signs that if you had a young daughter, I think you'd be highly offended.
Oh.
It had to do with practices that we can't talk about on the air.
Yeah, but I have another problem.
What's that?
I have a cousin. It's not a problem. I just wonder when they're going to put those handicaps. And they did it around my whole neighborhood, but right on the 35th and Wayne, they haven't touched it. And
you mean the ramps?
Yeah.
Well, we've been told in council this is like a never-ending problem. We thought it was going to be over by now, but every year they add more to the list. There is a list, and what happens also is there's what they call a trigger event. If they were to repave that street, then they would have to, at that time, automatically take all the intersections and put the ramps in at that time.
Oh, okay.
But otherwise, they go by the list. I can tell you, if you want to give me the corner, I can try to find out where it stands.
35th and Wayne, right on the corner.
Which corner?
It would probably be the south side. You can't miss it because you have right across from the field.
South side of 35th and Wayne,
both corners. That's the only corner it doesn't have. Both sides of that corner where there's a field.
Oh, it's the only one without a ramp?
Yeah, don't have it. Now, everyone in my neighborhood has it, all but that corner. I don't understand that. Even I tried to get the drain cover off because I was going to fix the brickwork because the bricks are falling out.
Yeah.
And I don't want that clogging up.
I'll try to get a hold of the engineer. And do you watch the show regularly?
Oh yeah.
Okay, I'll try to put it over the air about when they plan on doing it. Unless you want to, call me off the air.
No, because I watch it before I go to work because it's on at 5 a.m.
Yeah, so I'll try to put it on there. I'll find out if they, number one, if they have it on the list or a future list. And once again, if it's not on the list, a trigger event such as repaving can cause it to, because I've seen some people complain to me, and they're right, you know, they'll look and say, well, how come they did this but not this one? Well, if they're doing a street, they do all the ramps on that side of the street, but the cross streets they may not do.
Okay, yeah, see, that makes sense. If that would cause a problem of flooding, that's all you need.
But yeah, it's the list is complicated, and believe me, they got to get to all of them. It's just that nobody knows. Like at top of my hill, around Stanley Avenue, when you get up around Pine Avenue,
Right.
they haven't even touched that. That's like dirt up there yet.
Huh.
So God knows when they'll get to that, and you know. So I mean, we've been at this list, I think since I've been in city government. And every year we keep adding more to the list. We you know, the council keeps asking, but it doesn't look like there's a termination date. Because as others get bad, we have to replace them again.
Oh, okay.
And we're under court order to do so many a year, and it's not a cheap date, by the way, either.
Oh, yeah, I know, but after talking to it, the flooding, yeah, that pretty much makes sense.
But
you know,
yeah, you
'cause I
know-
hear a lot of people complaining about it.
And that's another thing, you're right about you know, when we put them in, sometimes we cause more problems.
I'm just worried about the drain or the drainage over there because it's sinking in. One time I seen a Austin cement truck run it over, and it cracked it a little bit.
And there you have a big problem in the city. We got roads that have been repaved, and the drains now are not, you know, not where they should be. And then when we put these ramps in, sometimes they cause more problem than good.
Yeah. But by your house, behind Kmart, that they did all that construction over there.
You mean they're tearing down the field and everything? Is that what you're talking about?
Behind Kmart?
Yeah.
But they put the drain in. I thought they were going to build something there. What's
They-
going on over there?
Well, they were, but I was in the controller's office when that happened, and I can't remember the developer, but they were going to build, they were going to try to build single-family housing first, but if that failed, they were going to put in like rentals for the, you know, well, like college kids, okay?
Right.
But their goal was, I think at that time, and it's a while back, was single-family housing. If I remember right, they put the drainage in, didn't they?
Yeah, they cleared everything out because all the critters moved out. Because I know a couple people that lived in there.
Yeah, that's why I got the, I had the 5 deer in my backyard one time.
Yeah, well, yeah, and it's turkey hawks.
Right.
They were flying around.
But, you know, I think it's a dead project, but you know what? I'm curious, like you are, I'm going to ask a couple of people in code and in economic development if anything's going on there.
Because I take that as a shortcut to go to the bank over there, and I see it, and I was just curious what the heck is going on. And then the guy I know that lives behind there, he doesn't even know what's going on.
Well, you know, I think it's a dead project, but you know what might happen? As you know, we're talking about doing LERTA.
Okay.
And if we do LERTA and there's a tax exempt benefit, you might see some development there.
Oh, okay. I wish they would build dorms over there for the kids.
Yeah, well, that's what, you know, they talked about. If the single family housing aspect didn't work out, they would have to look towards something in the rental aspect. And I think they were looking at that with an eye on college kids, you know.
Yeah, because that'll help.
But, you know, it's like for some reason, though, nothing happened back there and it kind of died.
Oh.
When they put the drainage in, I thought everything was progressing well. I remember one time there was a floor plan too. There was like a outline of what they were thinking of. I don't know where that is today though.
All right, Kaz, you're doing a good job. They should put pictures in the background. You, Bagnoni, Tom, and you.
You know, what I'd like to do someday would be to pull one of the old tapes of Mario and Randy Brewer.
Oh.
You know, in one of the weeks I'm not around. That would be classic entertainment.
All right, Kaz, I'll let somebody else call in.
Okay, we'll see ya.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was one of the behind Kmart. That was a project that was looking really good for a while, and then for some unknown reason, probably finances, it died. And I guess we can only hope that. And there are pros and cons about LERTA, but if and it looks like, you know, we probably will pass LERTA. Hopefully, maybe LERTA will, you know, and liven a few projects that have been put on hold. Because until we start adding housing and more population to the city, nothing's really going to change. We can develop downtown all we want, but until the neighborhoods are redeveloped and people start moving back in, nothing's going to change. But I'm going to check into that, see if I can find out anything about that project. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, I'm going to give you a recall
What's that?
on these disability ramps.
Yeah.
What about the ones they're putting in that goes smack into a bank and don't go anywhere?
Yep, I asked about that once because the obvious solution is they shouldn't be putting in a sidewalk.
Yeah, they put a sidewalk in, but it goes right into a bank, and they even made the bank nice.
Yeah, but we never complete the project. It's kind of like a sore subject about forcing sidewalks in.
Yeah, you get up in these hills, and there aren't too many people in wheelchairs or whatever. And why are they putting in these ramps?
Because we're under court order to do it, and we were challenged by I think it was Voices of Independence.
Yeah, well, tell the federal government to pick up the bill then.
Well, that's the bad part. Sometimes we get grants, but sometimes we have to finance ourselves. But it's got to be done, and it's like I say, it's court order. It's not voluntary.
Yeah, you talk about grants. I see that Manufacturing Association has never reimbursed the city for the time that the police and the other people have put into them. They never give them any money.
You mean for?
When they had their motorcycle.
Oh, for roaring ashore.
Yeah.
Well, every administration handles it different. And apparently this administration, which I'm in agreement with, that we need to cover our expenses.
Yeah, pay for the permits and whatever else.
And see, the one thing I could never prove, John, when I was controller, because the records weren't kept properly, was how much we spent at
Yeah.
like when they had a little bit of difficulty and we had to send another squad car over, or
It's true.
or if we had to clean up afterwards, or send some of our public works people in there to take care of an issue. That was not really ever added up properly.
I see that they're going to try out a few body cams. And the mayor made a quote that's going to cost $2 million. Where's he going to get that money?
Well, at one time we were approached by an organization that said they would pay for the body cams. But when I attended a lot of conferences on the issue, with the League of Cities and others, the one problem that they don't talk about is the body cams is one issue. Okay, John?
But recording a person.
Well, the problem is, what was leading to a lot of issues was, how do you deal with privacy issues? In other words, the camera has to be turned off, obviously, like when you go to a restroom, when you enter somebody's house that's not the target of an investigation, say they're coming up to ask you some info, you have the right not to be photographed.
True.
Because you got to remember that anybody, well, and this is where it gets hairy and a little tricky, there are issues as to when can an accused access the information, who can access the information, how much of it can you access. So then it becomes, here's where the real cost of body cams comes in. The cams are one price, and that's easy enough to take care of, but then you have to recharge them, then you have to have
You have to have a storage.
right, and this is the issue. You have to have a storage, and you have to have somebody that's capable of doing the redactions, because if you get a court order and you remember your body cam, and most of what I've been told is you might have an hour of tape in there or 5 hours of tape. So you got many people on there, some that shouldn't be in there. So if you're looking at one case, somebody has to go in there and pull that out. So then it becomes, do you have a system that can handle it? You have to keep records, like you said, storage, so that's a cost. The cost of the person who's going to monitor the system and, pull from it and add it to the data bank. So, there are a lot of costs with it, plus the legal issues.
That's true. In my own opinion, I think that cameras on the vehicle would be the thing,
Yep.
and not on the body person.
And see, that issue's been brought up, but legally, there's still a lot of
Oh yes,
quicksand out there.
there's a lot of gray area.
Well, they're going along and, like you would say they come to your house, John, and they're going to ask you a question. You don't want to be on tape.
True.
And, you want to cooperate, but you don't want to be on tape. So then there's issues of, do they turn it off? Do they remember to turn it back on?
Well, don't you think the mayor's putting the horse before the cart before everything's all ironed out?
Well, for years, the previous mayor and the previous chiefs, they all were a little bit,
Leery.
they were a little cautious. And when we went down to, like I say, we went down to League of Cities and we talked to cities that had done it, they were still in the learning curve, and some were learning off of the bigger cities like Philly and Pittsburgh. Some even pulled them out until, they had a chance to clarify the issues.
That's true.
But, it's one of those issues. I don't think a lot of policemen are against it, because it'll make the good ones look good
And
and the bad ones look bad.
true.
But the whole thing is, what do you call it? Balancing privacy, balancing
Yes.
the right to know, the rights of the accused and all that. And it's going to take a while to sort that out, and we'll see what happens,
Yeah, I guess. Rainbow Joe has a lot of ideas.
Yeah.
They call him Rainbow Joe.
I've heard, I've heard that. Of course, they've named me a few things too, but
Well, we'll let you go.
I think a lot of people will be glad the day I'm out of politics. But
Do you think so?
oh yeah, I mean, you know what? There's some people that think, there's a lot of people I love, and that's the ones that have elected me, and there's a lot more of them. But I know sometimes I ruffle feathers a little bit.
I don't know. I heard your last ruffle, and I think you were 100% right.
But it offends somebody, and I learned from Mario, Mario and Jimmy. Once you stop being concerned and forget where you come from, you're in trouble.
Yeah, that's right. I remember Mario when I was working for Penluck. We were doing a manhole in front of Dan, and he saw me doing mud, and he said, "Kid, you're doing it wrong." I told him, I said, "Show me how to do it." So he just rolled up his white shirt, took off his jacket, and jumped in the hole. I got him now laying bricks.
You should have had a picture of that one. That would have been classic.
Oh, yes, it is. So, well, have a good day.
Yeah, John, and I won't see you next week. I'm going to be with my grandkids.
Now, have a great time.
Yeah, I will, because, I got the one aspiring soccer star. I'm going to be sore when I come back.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I got to pretend I'm a goalie, and I get, hammered pretty hard.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, the Islanders got one hell of a goalie.
Who does?
The Islanders.
Oh.
They're taking my Penguins to the ice.
Well, there's room on the Blues bandwagon, John.
Yeah, hey, that's what we got to change the whole system.
I've been a Blues fan. I was first a Chicago Blackhawks fan, but then I became a Blues fan.
Yeah, and then you got the Red Wings. All the good players today from the past would quiver at the way the officiating is.
Oh, I remember the original 6. Those are classic matches.
Yes.
More like bloodbaths than a hockey game.
Have a little sambuca with a piece of cheese.
Hey, I still remember, you have the black sambuco.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a little different taste. I like that.
It's Roma. You can put, like you said, you can put it on ice cream.
I'll have to come over to your house.
Buona Pascha.
There you go.
You know what I mean?
Yep. Happy Easter.
That's right. I didn't know you were part Italian, too.
You knew that.
I sure did. I'm just busting him. Have a good one.
Yeah, Easter's coming up. It's the end of the fish dinners. But I'm a little disappointed. I love those fish dinners. But good reason not to cook and a good reason to eat out. But like all good things, it comes to an end. But yeah, with the ramps, that's an ongoing issue, and I don't know if there's ever an end date on those. And sad to say, we'll be probably still talking about them 10 years from now. And don't know when it's going to end. But getting back to all the good things that are happening, I think for, you know, let's hope that things start to change and our neighborhoods come back and people started having confidence and moving back in. But, you know, the other day, with great regret, I once again watched another longtime business leave Erie. And I don't know if they're both going to leave, but Burhan's Pharmacy, who's been there for, what, 50, 60 years, a fixture on the east side of town, they're gone now, and probably along with it their yogurt shop. But, you know, when you look at that, and you start watching a number of businesses that are not only leaving the city, but the county, there needs to be a wake-up call that, you know, not everything is right. And I know some of it is market conditions, but, you know, losing a long-time business, now you got an empty building, which I don't know what's going to happen to it. You have employees that, at least as I understand, they found employment, but that's always an issue. And we can't go on losing businesses, and not in the city. I mean, we're nowhere near what we used to be in the 50s and 60s. We have fewer grocery stores, fewer restaurants. Like I mentioned in the past, fewer bakeries. We lost Majestics not too long ago. Although I understand, and I hope I heard right, that there's hope somebody's taking that over. And this is where I know people don't like immigration. You know, we get calls, but it's a golden opportunity for immigrants, and if we have a loan structure and some help, that possibly, you know, just like back in the 50s and the 40s, some of these businesses will grow and become the things today that we take for granted, the various restaurants and bakeries, the ones that are still there, and the various other businesses. But it's a long process, and it's fraught with a lot of complications, and hopefully, you know, things will change, but like all things, it may take time. I really don't have anything more to add, so I hope somebody will call. Just a reminder again, we won't be on the air next week. And riding around downtown is interesting too. There's been a lot of changes and more to come. And we're talking about, you know, what they're going to do with the Bayfront Highway. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, Taz, I thought I'd give you a slight call, wish you and your family a happy Easter coming up, and that you enjoy your time with your grandkids there. They're important.
Yeah, we like making that trip. It's a shame that everybody lives out of town today, but, you know, you have that same problem, I think.
Yeah, I think my kids are going to come up to just visit us for a couple hours, and then they go back down.
Yeah, with mine, everything's the minimum is a 6-hour journey, so.
Yeah, and that's a shame. I mean, you want to support Erie, but, you know, like you're pointing out, I thought it's not the same Erie that when you and I were growing up in the...
Well, no, because it's stagnant, people look at it different ways. Whether you want to call it holding the line or just dropping a little bit. When you're stagnant and not growing, nothing changes. So if you're in a profession that there's no entry level jobs, you really don't have much choice but to leave.
That's true.
Or you take a job that pays less than you can make out of town, you know. But you know, you and I, when we got out of college, it was just as rough. But it's even rougher now, I think.
It was hard for me to find the right, you know, a good job at that time too, but yet, you know, the Lord provided, so I was able to maintain a lifestyle for a while.
Well, with me, I had my military obligation, so with the number of kids coming out of college, some were lucky, some weren't. So I guess I was on the unlucky side. So I wasn't going to get a job right away. And then when things changed, the market, the economy tanked a little bit, and you lose some opportunities. Then you're up against younger kids. But
no, I couldn't go into the service. They wouldn't let me. I have severe hearing loss in both ears, and they said, we can't take you in.
we could have put you in the artillery. You wouldn't have known the difference.
Well, I suppose they wanted me to be able to hear them say, "Cease fire."
All you do is watch the hand, Doc. That's all. When the hand drops, you hit the button.
Yeah, but they didn't see it that way.
No, probably for a good thing, because all of us that were around that stuff were, our hearing's a little shaky now. But
No.
you didn't miss anything.
We're glad we've gotten through that part of life. Now we're just going into a new phase of life, and hopefully we get through this one too.
It's funny how you look back and you figure, where did it go? And like 40, 50 years is gone, And, you walk around the old school and it doesn't look anything like when we were there,
Hopefully we get, like you said, some good businesses coming in. I'm a little bit concerned about the number of immigrants coming in, because it's getting to be too many that I can't understand. In other words, they talk in their own language, and I have no clue what they're saying.
Well, I guess that has a lot to do with, you and I were raised, remember years ago? And when we were young, probably, I don't know how it was where you lived, but you probably had a lot of Polish and Italian, right?
Where you mean where I lived?
Yeah. Like where you lived when you were young, we had a lot of, the immigrants were mostly Polish and Italian up here at that time.
No, ours was kind of a German hill, but they all spoke English. There's no foreign language spoken there.
Well, what they did was, and you're right, what they did was, I can remember this, the kids all learned English in school. They brought it home to the grandparents. Grandparents wanted to learn. They wanted to be bilingual. They still talked amongst themselves when they didn't want you to know what they were talking about, but they were capable, more than capable, of carrying on conversations, around town with businesses and doctors. But now I think we, in the spirit of trying to be nice to everyone, we have translators and all that, so it's prevented. Plus, a lot of the old immigrants, if you remember, they started businesses when they came here. Do you recall that, or?
Yeah, they established those good bakery and those clubs over there, and the west side there. So that became like a little Italy. That's why you call it that.
They became the shoemakers and the tailors and
area.
They worked in factories. So it's not the immigrants, but I just don't see the new ones. I do see some. There's some excellent examples out there of immigrants starting businesses and immigrants. I know a couple here at City Hall that the one gentleman was from Nepal. Man, I tell you, he had 2 and 3 jobs, and his family did too. And his whole goal was making a better life for his kids. And my hat went off to him. But then we have some that are not adding to the community, and I think that's what worries some people. But we are seeing some examples of people opening up businesses. We need a few more. A little change in culture would probably be nice for everyone. It'd be nice to have like some unique restaurants or bakeries around town.
You know what I'd like to see, Kaz, in a way, and I don't know how it would work, but we've got, like, even up here in part of 26 and Parade area, a lot of these businesses are being taken over by immigrants.
Right.
Right, but we remember they used to have fairs and things in which the community would get together, and you get to meet your neighbors and kind of get to know who they are.
Yeah.
That here, the new business moves in, and sometimes they're, like I discovered, sometimes they're not always friendly to you.
Well, then, the neighborhood watches are supposed to kind of take care of that. And we have that one day a year. Maybe we need a couple, where they have light up night. And everybody, meets if you have a neighborhood watch. But yeah, I agree with you. And sometimes, I've heard some of the immigrants are grumpy, and maybe you need to go in there and just see for yourself,
Well, they some of them, I have to admit, are sticking to their faith line.
Mm-hmm.
And then they bring that with them to here, and they don't want to change. We're not asking them to change, but the thing is that they're not open as we would hope they'd be open to other faiths or to friendliness to the, I hate to use the term infidels, or so, as I've often called now. So I don't know. Makes me wonder what is our country doing the right thing. That's not like what it was designed, what it originally started out as a safe haven.
We all need, when I was in the service dock, it was the great melting pot. And we had everything in there. All colors, faiths, creeds, beliefs, and isms, whatever you want. And somehow we got along,
That's just it. Getting along is what you need to do.
Maybe it was shared misery. Yeah, we like to think of it that way when you're in the Army. You got your shared misery, so.
Now you become brothers or sisters,
Yeah, and that's what we kind of need. We need to, it's nothing like a tragedy to unite people.
That's true.
But, we got to do that all the time. So, sometimes you find out the grumpy guy is really not bad. There's been a few movies about that, like, the guy acts grumpy, but you don't know why he's grumpy until you talk to him,
Well, I'm not going to stay on the line too long and let somebody else call in, but one reason I did call is, we had that one recent death on Old French Road here, 33rd Old French.
Yeah.
There's a motorcycle accident.
Yeah, it's one of those tragic ones again.
Well, it is, and, without a doubt, we heard that motorcycle driver go by, and we could tell by just the sound of the motorcycle he was not going the 25-mile-an-hour speed limit. He was roaring by. Is there a possibility, and I don't know who would be the one to help determine that,
Mm-hmm.
they can put maybe a couple stop signs on Old French Road. I'm thinking one at 30th and one at 33rd, because right now, as it is,
Yeah. You can go all the way on that street, I think, right?
you can go all the way from 28th to 38th Street.
Yeah, and they do go pretty fast, and you got the school there, too.
You do. So,
I think, here's how you go about that. You get a petition.
I talked to the traffic engineering department, and they said no, because they thought this was a state highway. They can't do that.
That's true. If that's a state highway, what you have to do is get a petition us, and then the traffic engineer, I'll give you an example. When we put the traffic lights on 38th and Old French and 38th and Pine, okay? You follow me, Doc? Doc?
I hear you.
Oh, yeah, those are all state highways, plus the intersecting roads are state highways. So Mr. Mirsky and I, we were at this for about 5 or 6 years, and we just ordered the traffic engineer to work with the state, have them do a traffic study, see how many cars go up and down it. So it can be done. You'd have to, what I would tell you to do is to get a petition, approach a councilman such as myself, or the one that is actually the liaison is even better. And then council will vote to
Do a study.
Yeah, we will instruct the traffic engineer to contact the state and work with them if we have to do that. If it's our road, that's a whole different issue, that we can do that. But with the state, yes, you have to work with them, and they'll have a lot to say about it. But I think, the first step would be see if there's some interest in the neighborhood, and then approach a council person and ask them to sponsor a resolution to ask the traffic engineer to work with the Commonwealth and study the issue. That's how we got the lights in up there.
Pine Avenue, that's 35 miles an hour.
I think it is in some parts, and I'm not really sure, but.
Go from 38 down to 28.
And see, and there's another one. You know that intersection near Circle K? I had this Commonwealth study that one, Richard, because that was a problem. But yeah, the speed on Old French Road and
25.
And Pine Avenue and them, that's pretty. He can be pretty wild.
Well, it used to be 25 was the reasonable speed limit because kids were always crossing, even at 30th Street here, to go between Academy to Jefferson.
I think it's 25 in the city, but then it picks up as you get south, you know.
Right, above, I think after you get past 38, it goes up to 35.
Yeah, I think it does.
But,
I mean, I usually don't drive fast, so I mean, I don't drive fast enough to worry about it.
you know, but the thing is that we need to, I know the police have other things to do, so they really don't have time to monitor this. I do know that one of the TV stations actually was able to obtain one of those, let's see your speed.
Yeah, you're not allowed to use them in Commonwealth, communities.
Well, the police are not, but the TV station.
Oh yeah, but if they ever put radar in, or they put the speed cameras, you might see things slow down a little bit.
Well, I tell you, that camera, the TV station had the lady with the reporter with the speed gun, and the recorder, somebody with the camera videotaping it. She was actually recording speeds anywhere from 35 to 50 miles an hour on this 25 mile an hour zone.
Oh, I believe it. They go sometimes 40, 50 down my street as a shortcut, so.
Yeah, and I don't know, I can understand. And I agree, sometimes on, French Road, 25 seems to be a bit on the too slow of a side, so we can bounce it up to 35.
Even though I can't say this publicly, I don't think they would bother you if you went a little faster, but when you start driving like you're on a highway, then you got a problem.
Yeah.
That's when, when you're like 15, 20 miles over the speed limit, you got a problem.
The only way I could see this being really ramified, and I hate to say it, but would be due to new electronic capabilities, and that is have the street lined with like a device that would allow your car to go up to a certain speed on that zone.
Yeah.
Without a signal, and when your car got into that zone, it can't go above a certain speed.
Well, all things come with a cost. That's the problem.
Oh, it would be cost, but then, in a sense speaking, it would save some lives.
Yeah. Well, I'm getting a high sign. I got to get off. So.
Okay. Well.
See you in 2 weeks. Okay.
Sure. I'll talk to you sometime. We'll have to. I need to talk to you, but
I got your message. I'll give you a call, and I've had some. There's a reason why I wasn't on the air last week. So.
Okay. Well. Yeah, we miss you. I mean, you're a good speaker, and you have a good program.
No problem. See you in 2 weeks.
Okay, bye now.
And with that, Mike, you can hit the music because we got to go off the air. Nice talking to everybody. Have a good Easter.
You have been watching Taxpayers Hotline, recorded live from the fabulous city of Erie, Pennsylvania.